Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Begin with the heart. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Begin with the heart. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Begin with the heart.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Fellowship of Nanaimo. Our mission is to create spiritual connection and bring compassion, discovery, and social justice to life. My name is Nuria. Excuse me, I'm just going to try without glasses. Yes. It's a distance thing. My name is Nuria, and I am the service leader this morning. My pronouns are she, her, and elle in French. Please take a moment now to silence or turn off your cell phones. Thank you. Hope to remember to turn them off after. And let's say hello to our friends attending on Zoom. You turn to the back at the hall where the frog is, and we wave to, it's wonderful to have you with us this morning, all our friends on Zoom. Welcome. Whatever your hopes, dreams, and aspirations, whatever your race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender identity, whatever makes you who you are warmly welcomed here. In keeping with our Unitarian Universalist aspiration of radical inclusion, we invite you to share your pronouns as well as your name when introducing yourself, if you are comfortable doing so. We are grateful for a diversity of voices on Sunday mornings, and our services vary from week to week. They last about 60 and 75 minutes, so if you're a visitor, come again, please. If this is your first time with us, a very special welcome to you. And if you're joining us online, please consider sharing your contact information, got distracted. You can share it with the host by going to the chat icon at the bottom of the screen. We would love to welcome you to our community. We have a website, ufon.ca, spelled ufon.ca, and we invite you to check for more detailed information about who we are, the services we offer, and how you can connect with us. I will now read our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge today that we meet on the traditional territory of the Nanaimo First Nation. As Unitarians, we are committed to the work of reconciliation required to address the harm done to all Indigenous peoples and their cultures by non-Indigenous people. We have much to learn from the Indigenous perspective, including that the earth is the source of all life, and that our responsibility is to honor and care for it. We have 3 announcements this morning. We have a new puzzle exchange. A selection of new to us jigsaw puzzles are now available in the library, which is down the corridor there. They are there to be borrowed, or swap one for one you've already done. And only please gently use puzzles with all of the pieces, you know, how nobody likes to do so we can keep it fun for everybody. The next one is an event. Come and enjoy fellowship and great food. PIR squared, Pie Potluck. Saturday, March 14, here in the hall. Doors open at 5 p.m. Bring your favorite sweet or savory pie, of course. Salads will also be needed. Sign-up sheet for categories will be posted on the back bulletin board next Sunday. Please approach Suzanne André, who I don't see today, to volunteer for setup, cleanup. See you there. And our next announcement, Sunday, March 8th, 2 weeks from now, is International Women's Day. To celebrate it, the women at the fellowship who have been faithfully making the coffee and preparing, cleaning up after the post-service snacks will be taking a day off. Did you know, by the way, what the kitchen crew does? Settle down, because it's a long list. Kitchen duties involve keeping track of coffee, tea, cream, and milk supplies, starting the coffee at 10, putting out coffee, tea, and cookies at 10:30, preparing the food for serving, emptying and filling the dishwasher, making sure there are enough plates and serviettes, keeping track of the coffee donation box, taking care of the compost, bringing cups, plates, glasses left in the hall into the kitchen, putting them in the dishwasher, and, of course, doing general cleanup in the hall and the kitchen afterwards. Phew. Men, here is your opportunity to make the coffee, operate the dishwasher, prepare the snacks, and clean up after. Conveniently, full instructions are listed on the fridge. You may want to take a look ahead of time to be prepared. Women of the fellowship, unite. You have nothing to lose but the kitchen duties, if only for one Sunday. To find out about all special events, groups, and meetings taking place in the hall, you can go to the calendar on the website. You can read the weekly email sent to you on Friday, or check out the large whiteboards in the hall by the washrooms. Let us now enter into sacred time. Thank you to Tony for stepping in for Leah while she's on sabbatical.
Please join me in singing Enter, Rejoice, and Come In, hymn number 361. Rise as you are willing and able. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Welcome to this place of reflection, fellowship, and inner growth. I'm Reverend Ashley, and it is my honor to serve as your minister here. As we enter into this time of sacred awareness, I invite you to rest. Rest in this present moment with an open heart. Simply let this moment be as it is. Our chalice lighting today is by Richard M. Fuchs. May the light of truth illumine our minds. May the spark of love set our hearts on fire. May the flame of freedom burn brightly within us, now and always. Please join in hymn number 100, Peace Like a River, and stand as you're willing and able.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Go. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Sing it again. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. Love. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. Pain. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow. I've got pain like an arrow in my soul. Tears, I got tears like the raindrops. I got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops. I've got tears like the raindrops in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
All those who are young of body or young of spirit this morning, or who are accompanying them, are welcome to join at the front here. Got a little run for you guys.
Your heart be at peace as you go. to nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our hearts as you go. Nous vous entourons d'amour maintenant et toujours. Que vécu soit en paix pour toujours. Cultivons l'étincelle jour après jour. Nous vous entourons d'amour pour toujours.
We are a community that seeks to be present to one another, especially in times of great joy or sorrow. Now is the time in our service when we make space to listen deeply to significant losses and milestones. If you're in the sanctuary, I invite you to come to the mic and share your name and your joy or your sorrow, and we will place one of these stones in the water. If you're on Zoom, then you can be prompted to share after the folks in the sanctuary have shared. We'll place a final stone for all the joys and sorrows, spoken and unspoken, and we hold in our hearts all that has been shared. I invite you to join in a moment of silence for prayer or meditation as you are called.
We share in love, we listen in love, we hold one another in love. Each joy and concern we witness and learn and grow together in love. And grow together in love.
Our reading today comes from the Mahaparinibbana Sutra. Therefore, be ye lamps unto yourselves, be ye a refuge to yourselves. Betake yourselves to no external refuge. Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Hold fast to the truth as a refuge. Look not for a refuge in anyone beside yourselves. And those who either now or after I'm dead shall be a lamp unto themselves, shall betake themselves to no external refuge, but holding fast to the truth as their lamp, and holding fast to the truth as their refuge, shall not look for refuge to anyone beside themselves. It is they who shall reach the very topmost height, but they must be anxious to learn.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They learn much more than I'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
I am a huge Mr. Rogers fan. My parents were alienated Catholics, and I didn't go to church much as a child, so I consider Mr. Rogers my youth minister. He was actually a Presbyterian pastor, although he didn't make a big deal of that. Mr. Rogers taught about compassion, love of neighbors, and basically all of our shared Unitarian Universalist values. He preached it all without being preachy. Mr. Rogers was fairly revolutionary for his time. In one famous episode, he sat with his feet in a kiddie pool with Officer Clements, a black character on the show. It was a reference both to the Christian practice of foot washing as a way to show care and a spirit of service to others, as well as the public controversy at that time over the desegregation of public swimming pools. In that gentle way, Mr. Rogers took a stand against many social injustices. Recently, a video of Mr. Rogers assuring children that their gender could not change has made the rounds, in an attempt to imply that Mr. Rogers would have negative feelings toward transgender people. Of course, when it was recorded, Fred Rogers couldn't have imagined the existence of modern-day transgender identities. At that point in history, the very word transgender was only in use in an extremely small circle of activists, almost certainly unknown to him. He was speaking to an anxiety that young children sometimes had and reassuring them that the bodies they were comfortable in wouldn't suddenly change. Although a movement for civil rights for transgender people didn't exist then, for his time, Mr. Rogers was personally progressive on issues of gay rights. He assured Francois Clemens, the actor who played Officer Clemens, that he accepted his gay identity. I feel about as certain as I do about anything that Fred Rogers would never have rejected anyone for their gender identity. I thought about the ways that we interpret the words of historical figures, and particularly religious figures, as I read a Buddhist text recently. Nagarjuna's Letter to a Friend, a text from the 1st or 2nd century. I definitely don't recommend it as an introduction to Buddhism. It's esoteric. It includes several pages of colorful descriptions of various hells and the creative sufferings there, among other things. So try some Thich Nhat Hanh first. Buddhism doesn't have one main canon like the Abrahamic traditions. Instead, it has thousands of texts from different traditions, cultures, and time periods. Letter to a Friend is a text that includes references to the unclean nature of women's bodies. And it would be easy for someone not well versed in the history of these texts and immersed in an entirely different cultural background to assume that this text has the same meaning as biblical texts that refer to uncleanness of women. And of course, even those biblical texts a little bit closer to our own cultural context are often misunderstood these thousands of years later. But they also have a very different meaning than the similar wording in Letter to a Friend. Nagarjuna, a deeply revered figure in Tibetan Buddhism, was a monk writing for monks. And his goal was to encourage detachment from desire, not misogyny. One of the main practices of Buddhism is loving kindness toward all beings, considering them as important or more important than yourself. And the monks reading this text would have been doing that practice daily. And of course, women would be included in the practice. And Buddha had established his lineage as radical for this time by allowing women to be monastics just like men. In context, this text was not encouraging disgust toward women as an overarching perspective. It was indicating a mental strategy for monks who were distracted by a particular woman when they were trying to meditate. The next line of the text suggests thinking of women they're attracted to as a mother or a sister, which is another version of that mental trick. It's easy enough to misinterpret people's meaning in the present time when we understand the context pretty well. Our projections, insecurities, and quirks get in the way all the time. But add even 50 years, never mind a couple thousand, and some huge cultural differences to the mix, and things get pretty dicey. There's a joke amongst biblical scholars that in 2,000 years, people will be very confused about the difference between a butt dial and a booty call. And in addition to the complexities of language, culture, and everything lost to history, the things one cannot say for fear of being ostracized or not taken seriously at the milder end, or violence when things are more severe, deeply limit us. When Jesus was teaching, for example, it was quite radical to teach women, and he did it anyway. He probably lost a lot of male followers just for doing that. Had he said in so many words that men and women were equal in his context, he would have been considered entirely crazy. He was already out of the mainstream for saying that men shouldn't be allowed to abandon their wives to die, which is now often misinterpreted to mean he opposed modern divorce. Just like Mr. Rogers wouldn't have been allowed to have a children's show if he had publicly held many of our modern attitudes, Jesus likely would not have had any followers in a culture that treated women as property if he espoused the future perfectly feminist ideals of the 35th century, which, by the way, many supposedly progressive people today would probably also struggle to comprehend. We tend to look for perfect leaders, those people we can trust absolutely and surrender our own judgment to. Maybe it's a human thing. Maybe it's because we're not that far from our history living under monarchy, and we still have a lot of deconstruction to do. And we do the same with religious texts, which is very much a product of the Christian dominance in our culture. The idea of a single, perfect, and always comprehensible text that exists entirely outside of history and culture is extremely specific to the last 100 years, if that. And somehow we think that these perfect teachers and texts and history existed in a world with far more freedom than we enjoy, to always safely say exactly what they believed and be taken seriously, even as we know that it's the opposite. Their context was much more constrained. Anyone who's ever been an activist for human or civil rights knows that part of the work on the front lines is reassuring people that you're reasonable, tapping into their pre-existing values and worldview to convince them that the changes you're working for are the right thing, even as you might not share their more traditional worldview. In fact, some of the most forward-thinking people throughout history were probably more likely to, at times, parrot aspects of more conventional and even oppressive thinking because they were in the thick of the work of transformation of culture, and they had to meet people where they were. Those doing the work of systems change don't always have the luxury of full disclosure. The trick, of course, is not compromising so much that one is totally co-opted, compromising only as much as it's actually needed to make progress. But finding that line is not always straightforward. And the freedom to speak our minds is dramatically impacted by who holds the power to control propaganda and who controls organized violence. That might make it even more difficult to understand what people speaking from conditions of greater unfreedom have said and not said. So, why does it matter what people could and couldn't say in some other time and place? Why does it matter what their context was? Well, the unspoken implication when we try to figure these things out is often either that someone is trying to use an admired person in the past to convince us to adhere to oppressive power structures, or we've already decided we don't accept oppressive power structures and we're deciding whether we will hold a particular leader to be good, worth listening to, perfect enough to surrender our judgment to. And I don't think that's what we should be looking for. It isn't really possible to fully know what people of the past thought about our modern day issues. It's not even always possible to know what they thought about what was happening in their own world. But understanding those things with certainty is only important if we think that someone else's judgment should dictate our actions today, because we want to hold them up as someone worthy of abandoning our own judgment to. And there isn't such a thing as people we should abandon our judgment to, or people we should totally discard and ignore, for that matter. Everyone has some ideas worth taking seriously. A single statement that doesn't perfectly cater to our precise worldview and moment in history shouldn't be the reason to discard everything someone has to say. And I don't want to abandon my judgment to anyone. I have it for a reason. The historical Buddha said many things. There are all kinds of contradictory texts supposedly reflecting his words. Different audiences, different authorship, translation issues, context lost to history. But in his final teaching is one that speaks to all spiritual paths. And it was that we should be a lamp unto ourselves. We should rely on our own judgment, our own experience, rather than accepting what someone else tells us. And on the spiritual path, as in life, this is the only way to real wisdom. I don't know for sure what Mr. Rogers or Jesus or Nagarjuna believed, or what this text or that text really meant. There are so many ways to misunderstand people. But looking for our own truth in someone else's understanding is never going to result in success. We can listen to the ideas of others, and it's a wonderful thing to be curious and open-minded, always trying to look at the world in different ways. But looking to other people for absolute truth won't get us anywhere. We always have to maintain our discernment and look for the truth ourselves. The only words we'll hear from humans have all the flaws of human communication, even if we admire or revere that person they're coming from. No one will ever free us of the obligation to think for ourselves. If someone spoke from compassion, even if they didn't always speak exactly to our worldview, maybe we can give a bit of grace, look for wisdom in imperfect places, especially since that's the only kind, and maintain our own discernment. Think for ourselves. find our own truths. It's only a problem to look for truth from imperfect people if we think we have the capacity to perfectly understand every word they've said, and that we must accept it all without thinking for ourselves. May we seek our own truth in imperfect sources, without abandoning our discernment and reason, and may we tell that truth with integrity. Amen.
It is now time for the offering. For those of us in the hall, Joan and Bill will now pass the baskets. If you are visiting us for the first or the second time, we consider your presence to be your contribution. Please let the baskets pass. Those online can go to our website and click the big blue donate button on the home page to give. To help the wider community, half of all cash donations will be given to our charity of the month. Our charity this month is Community Circles Restorative Justice Society, a non-profit that provides restorative justice and conflict mediation services for free to individuals, groups, and organizations on Vancouver Island. So the name is Community Circles Restorative Justice Society. If your donation is by e-transfer or check, and you want it to be shared with the charity of the month, please make a note on your e-transfer or your check. And for those who don't carry cash, we now accept donations via debit or credit cards. This can be conveniently done at our welcoming table, near the entry doors after the service. Thank you for your generosity towards our congregation and our community.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Now, please stand as you are willing and able and sing with me, This Little Light of Mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Building up a world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's pray with that last line. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
May you be a lamp unto yourselves and seek your own wisdom. Go in peace.
Let's read together the words to the extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We are nearing the end of the service. After we sing Carry the Flame, you have the opportunity to join a social group. There are breakout rooms available online for the next 30 minutes. If you want to join an online breakout room, stay online and the host will put you there. There's some very lovely, lively discussions there. We will have refreshments and conversations in the hall. I would like to thank the many people who have given their time, energy to make today's service so special. The Sunday Services Committee, our minister, Reverend Ashley, the audiovisual team, Tony for the music, the singing, the greeters and offering collectors, those at the welcoming table, the kitchen volunteers, those you know, come early and stay late for cleanup, remember the story? Those who brought food and flowers, our heartfelt gratitude to all. We'll now sing our final song, Carry the Flame. The words are on the wall in the hall, here on this wall and there in the back. Our custom is to stand and hold hands or touch elbows as you are comfortable.
Yeah, you put your hand on my shoulder. Good. Hi. Yeah, feel the vibe. Way to go. Okay. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. Then we shall see a world of light and a world of joy. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.